Hello world, it's time for a leukemia update. Okay, so as you can see from my background, I'm still in hospital. I've been now here for 2 weeks, actually a bit more. And I thought I'll give you an update of what's happening and what they're discussing. At the moment, there's a lot that's been going on. I've had a week of prednisone to try and get the blasts, the leukemia cells, to kill them and get them out of my system. I've had a couple of days of chemo. We're expecting me to go into what they call the dip. That's where your immune system goes down pretty low. And we're sort of still waiting for me to get into that. We've been trying me on all sorts of meds also to try and keep things under control. They're still looking at options. But I've been pretty okay the last 2 weeks. I haven't had very bad side effects. I'm eating well. I'm trying to get my movement while I'm here in the hospital. One thing I must mention is I was on a ward. There were 4 of us in a room. And I'm somewhat introverted, so I was going a bit nuts at one point, and I've now got a private room. So that I can find some rest, get my mental strength back, emotional strength, so that I can continue to fight this, because you need to be physically and mentally strong to battle this. If you're not in a good mental place, fighting leukemia becomes an almost impossible task. So I'm grateful for that. They are taking good care of me here in the hospital. We have a very good system here in the Netherlands for healthcare and some really good nurses and great doctors. As far as the future is concerned, we're looking at many options. At the moment, they're looking for where we're going to get stem cells, because the going theory is that my body has driven out my brother's stem cells. He was my original donor. They won't let him be a donor again because apparently my body will just do the same thing again. At the moment, my mom is being looked at as an option. So she's been tested. They're just waiting for some more things to come through. They also been doing research as to who all my cousins are, because maybe something can come out of that. There's just a logistical problem because they all live in South Africa. They're trying to see how they can work around that. And they're looking at stem cells from out of umbilical cords. You see, when a baby's born, there's a lot of blood that comes with in liquid. And those are immature stem cells which can do a lot. And it has been shown that you can grow some organs from them for transplants and do many great things with their stem cells. And it's a great source of embryonic stem cells without having to create babies and abort them. So you get them just out of the, when a baby's born, you just gather all those liquids in the umbilical cord and you can use those. They're looking at that as an option as well for me. There are pros and cons on all of them. I've heard Amsterdam prefers adult stem cells because you can test more and you know more what's going to happen, and you've always got a reserve of cells after the transplant in case you need more. That's when, as I mentioned before, I was doing the white blood cell transfusion. That was from the leftover cells from my brother. Having said that, the embryonic stem cells, or the stem cells out of the umbilical cord, which they're going to use for me, would be a good option because they're immature. They can adjust to your body a lot better. Even if there's less of a match, you get more of an adjustment because they're immature. They adjust better. The downside is there's no leftovers when they're done. So if you need an extra white blood cell transfusion, you're out of luck. So that's sort of the things they've got to weigh up. I do believe my mom is plan A at the moment anyway. But we're waiting to see all of those. Also, they've decided to give me something called emotuzumab. It's a medicine to help try and keep things under control with leukemia. It's one of the newest medicines out there, and you happen to have what they call the C22 marker, which I just happen to have developed in this 3rd bout of leukemia. I've never had it before, and so it's sort of a lucky break. I don't know, it's hard to call it a miracle considering the situation, but it does give them more options as to what they can do with me now than 2 years ago and 4 years ago. So they're looking at that as well as a medicine to hold things. It's something you do get though via the IV, and it does have a longer recovery time, but it gives them more options. They've also apparently looking to try and do no radiation. Last time I got 10 gray, and you don't want to give someone more than 10 gray radiation in their life, so they're looking at other options and which chemos would work the best to get the same effect for the stem cells. There's no real definite plan as of yet what to do after we start emotisnab. But they are looking there. I think they're trying to also keep things as fluid as possible to adjust to my leukemia, because I do have a very aggressive mutating leukemia. You don't want to get surprises. But we are looking at all the options, trying to see what we can do, what are the best ways to go forward. They've got a lot of options open. So it looks good. I mentioned before there was a blaminatinib. They've decided not to use that one because it is more toxic and there are more dangers involved in using it. And since emo is the new one, it makes it a better option since it's also friendlier and gives you those options. So that's where I am at the moment. We're still trusting God for His guidance in all of this to see how it happens. Best thing would be just miraculously healed, but I kind of realize it's not how God's working the leukemia thing. Does not mean I don't believe that it can happen, but whichever way God chooses, I've always been open to it, and I'm just excited to see how it goes. I'm still aiming to make it 3-0 to my advantage against leukemia, so we'll keep doing that. Anyway, I thank you for listening. Keep praying for me and pray for family. I'll keep praying for you guys out there as well, and I just want to say keep well and God bless.